Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a Japanese film from 2010. That movie is Alien vs. Ninja. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this movie. I'm going to tell you everything which I do know. I know it has something to do with aliens and ninjas, and they probably are going to be fighting each other if the title is any indication. I also know that this is from the same producers who made Tokyo Gore Police, which was a movie I covered way early in the history of reaction and review, and I greatly enjoyed. I'm kind of hoping for something similar here. I'm kind of hoping for like wacky, gory bullshit because, well, I kind of enjoy wacky, gory bullshit. So, yes. I really don't know anything else about it. I can also tell you I picked it up incredibly cheap, so honestly, even if this thing sucks, I'm not going to feel too horribly ripped off because I think I bought it for like $3. So, right now, I am still hoping for it to be good, but the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Alien vs. Ninja. You know, guys, just want to make this point kind of clear. At this point, I'm a little bit sorry that I opted to go with the dub over going with this thing subbed, because the acting in this fucking dub is terrible. I just kind of wanted to make that point clear. I am in for a long, painful ride unless this dub gets better. You know, guys, I totally understand it's a little bit early in a film for me to be talking about the costuming, but I kind of want to mention this right now. Our ninja's, like, armor seems to be made up entirely of paint, it seems to be made entirely of, like, paintball gear and Nerf, all just painted black. It looks incredibly cheap, and it's really kind of killing the whole, you know, it's sort of killing the whole feel of the movie for me, because, you know, there's, you know, cheap, and then there's horribly cheap. This is kind of falling into horribly cheap. Well, guys, now, even though I'm able to dump on the ninja costumes, I will say that the suits on these aliens are really cool looking, alright? I really do like the way that these aliens look. So, at least there's a positive there, and the aliens apparently bleed chunky Pepto, you know, Bismol. That's real fucking, you know, appetizing to see. Oh, yeah. Okay, I really don't think that it was necessary to have to stab that fucking alien in the goddamn crotch, okay? That just seemed a little bit excessive. Then again, this entire fight scene was incredibly excessive and stupid, so I guess I really shouldn't have expected better, you know? You know, guys, this honestly is kind of a bad, you know, sign. I'm watching an action movie, but these fight scenes, as well as everything else in the movie, are so absolutely mind-bogglingly dull that I am struggling to stay awake right now. I mean, you know, like, some of this stuff is sort of cool. It's just that the overall, like, presentation is just so fucking dull that, as I said, I'm struggling to stay awake right now. That is not a good thing when you're watching an action film, guys. Is that alien really shooting that gun gangsta style? Yeah, he fucking is. The alien is shooting his gun sideways. What the fuck? Yes, I understand it's trivial, it's fucking stupid, but yes, that is incredibly fucking stupid. No! I don't think any alien ever should... I don't think anybody ever should be fucking shooting like gangsta style anyway, but god damn it, that is just fucking retarded, man. Thank Christ this son of a bitch is over. No, shut up. I am not listening to any more of your god-awful J-pop bullshit. Alright, guys. That was Alien vs. Ninja. And before I get into the review itself, I guess I should explain why I decided to review this thing. When I was at the video store, two things on the cover, front and back, kind of caught my eye. One was the note that it's from the producers of Tokyo Gore Police, and as I've made abundantly clear in the past, I greatly enjoyed Tokyo Gore Police. So there was that, and I was sort of willing to see if they could make lightning strike twice on that. But then on the back here, there's one sentence that totally sold me, and I thought this thing was going to be good. And I quote, "If you're into Army of Darkness, you'll be taking bets over who'll win this over-the-top battle for survival." Yes, guys, they directly compare this thing to Army of Darkness. And I'm going to tell you right now, the only thing Alien vs. Ninja has in common with Army of Darkness is that they both start with the letter A. Now that I have that out of the way, let's talk about why this movie sucks so badly. Also, before I started watching the movie, I did happen to look into the budget. The budget on this film, when translated into American dollars, was roughly around $600,000. So we're not talking about a big budget effort here. So I do have to take that a little bit into consideration when talking about the movie. So I just want you guys to know up front, the movie is a little bit of a low budget outing, so I am cutting it a little bit of slack. Writing. Alright. I understand that it's an action film. Action films don't have to have strong writing, but there is something you need in your action film in order for it to work. You need to give the viewer a reason to give a shit, and this movie does not give you that. We have characters whose sole personalities are, one of them's cocky, one of them is a coward, one of them is a woman, the other one's just some dude sitting around. One of them is the survivor of a previous alien attack, and then we have the mountain of victims and aliens who pop up over the course of the film. I just gave you all of the personality which they gave us for these characters, so there's no reason to really give a flying shit about any of these characters. Which again, I don't mind, because action films you don't have to care, but you really have to at least give us some reason. Well, you don't have to give us tons of reason to care, but this thing almost seems to proactively go out of its way to make you not give a shit about what's going to happen to any of these characters. Now, I don't mind that we have shallow characters, because again, action film, I'm not fucking expecting Tennyson here, okay? I mean, no, I'm not. But also, on top of that, our story itself is kind of flimsy, because we have all of our borderline nameless ninjas being asked by their village to go and check out what is essentially a crash site. Now, they never really come right out and call it a crash site, but because they are talking about the fireball that came down, go check it out. And yeah, that really is their only motivation to go out there. And when they get there, they find out that there are a bunch of aliens, and the aliens essentially look almost like a cross between the aliens from that god-awful Alien franchise. And yes, I don't like the Alien franchise. Do not ask why. Those movies all suck. If you took that alien and you crossed it with a fucking bottlenose dolphin, you kind of know what you got for this thing. So, the costuming on it's okay, but I will get to costumes in a sec. And basically now we have our entire film. We now have these ninjas fighting against these aliens, which of course matches the title of the film perfectly. So, again, writing here, the writing's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, it is basically what it is. I mean, it does kind of sort of accomplish what it wants to do. It's just going about it in an incredibly shallow way, and I just don't like that. Now, acting. Well, I mentioned earlier that I had elected to watch the dub of this thing as opposed to watching the subtitled version, and I'm going to tell you right now the big reason why. It's because I saw the company which dubbed it. I'm looking at their logo right now on the back of the case. This thing was dubbed by Funimation. Funimation is a company that normally knows how to dub things rather, well, because they have a nice stable of voice actors who know what the hell they are doing, and some of them even pop up in this thing. You can clearly hear a handful of very, 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 like, familiar voices if you watch a lot of Funimation's dubs, but none of them are really turning in a promising showing. I really don't know if it's because they weren't motivated. I don't know if it's because the script was just that bad. I don't know if it's because they were just asked one day, hey, yo, come on in here and just do this for us. I don't know. I don't know why the acting here, at least in the dub, is as subpar as it is. It could easily just be that they were asked to polish a turd in terms of the movie, and that was just not enough motivation for them to really put a whole lot of effort in. I don't know, and I'm not about to speculate, but the acting here in the dub is incredibly lacking, and that much I can say. So, yeah, guys, the acting here is kind of bad, and just based off of the body language of the characters, I'm going to take a wild stab and say that the acting in the film itself is probably not that good. Again, I'm basing that, though, just off the fact that every character has to exaggerate their body movements to almost Power Ranger levels of, body fucking exaggeration with every single movement. So normally the acting kind of skews that bad when the body language is skewing that bad. So again, I don't really know if the acting in the film proper is any good, but I can at least make a wild assumption based on what I've seen in the film and the fact that the dub itself just wasn't that good. So, I've covered acting, I've kind of covered acting, I've covered writing. Let's talk about the special effects. Costuming, as I have stated, our ninjas are decked out essentially in fucking paintball gear and Nerf helmets. All of it is spray painted black, and that's common in sci-fi films, but that's usually with like Nerf guns, where they'll take them and they'll spray paint them black, and now we have a like assault rifle in a sci-fi film. You don't normally take like a Nerf helmet and spray paint it black and go, here we go, we now have a ninja helmet. That doesn't totally work, but hey, you know what, at least it kind of works and it kind of functions, so I'm not going to give it a whole lot of grief. The alien costumes look fantastic, as long as they're not doing close-ups, because even though our ninjas are decked out in pants so fucking tight, I could probably tell you the actors' fucking religions. The aliens are decked out in incredibly loose pants, and when they aren't sitting, perfectly fucking bow-legged. The leggings on their costume wrinkles and bunches in incredibly horrible and ugly ways, and it kind of takes you right out of the film. So yeah, costuming here is just a little bit of a mixed bag, but frankly, the aliens I think actually come out a little bit on top, because as long as you're filming them from the waist up, they look awesome. So there is that. In terms of other special effects, the CG in this thing is horrible. And I'm saying horrible even by low-budget film standards. The CG in this thing is an absolute joke. The CG reminds me a lot of another god-awful film I watched this year, which was called Metal Man. No movie should be reminding me of the horrible and horrific CG that was in that hunky shit. But yet, Alien vs. Ninja is just a half a step above it in terms of quality, but it's still low enough for me to remember Metal Man, and that makes me very, very sad. So, yeah, guys, we have here CG, which would have probably looked absolutely groundbreaking by like 2001 standards, but look absolutely horrible and cheap by 2010 standards when the fucker was made. So, again, even guys with a $600,000 budget, they could have done much better in terms of the CG. However, once more, the aliens almost seem to come out on top in terms of CG, especially when they have like their tail like shoots out of their butt and then they start like using it. It looks okay. When one of them sprouts friggin' wings, it looks really good. It's just when the aliens are asked to, like jump around or fucking, like roll around in their little ball form, that looks horrible. When we essentially see like a house or a temple or whatever the hell it was supposed to be explode at the very start of the movie, that looks terrible. The fireball at the start looks horrible. CG fire in this thing looks terrible. Guys, I'm just going to say it again. By possibly 2001 standards, the CG in this thing would have been great. By 2010 standards, it's a fucking joke and a half, even by low budget standards. That's how bad we're talking here in terms of the CG. The soundtrack, oh boy. So far, guys, as you can tell, almost everything I've been talking about is a fucking mixed bag. The soundtrack is no different. We have a handful of songs, we have a handful of song pieces, which are all instrumental rock, and they sound really friggin' good. But then we get hit with the other 2/3 of the soundtrack, which is all techno and J-pop nonsense that sounds absolutely hideous, sounds horribly out of place with, you know, what is here. And I kind of wish that they didn't put that crap in. I would have much rather had I would have been much happier with a much more rock, you know, centric soundtrack, because I think it would have better fit the mood of the film. In fact, frankly, a whole lot of the soundtrack is just so jarring and bad, it's probably going to pull you right out of the film about as much as the loose leggings on the alien costume and the terrible CG will. So ultimately, and camera work is it all looks to be done with handheld. So this thing is so this thing's got a whole lot of shaky cam going on. So I guess I should warn anybody who really wants to attempt to watch this, if you are prone to motion sickness, you might want to avoid, because the camera shakes that goddamn much. You have been warned. So when all is said and done, can I recommend Alien versus Ninja? No, I cannot. Not even halfway there. No. The only way I could possibly recommend this thing, and I'm not sure if it's on there or not, if this thing is on Netflix, and if you have, 88 minutes? 81 minutes. If you have 81 minutes to burn, and you've got nothing else to fucking do, you go right the hell ahead and watch it, and then you can hate yourself afterwards. But if you don't want to loathe, you know, living, I strongly recommend you avoid this thing. In fact, the very back here is giving you a far better option. Actually, it's giving you two of them, because the back here mentions both Tokyo Gore Police and Army of Darkness. I would highly recommend either one of those things over this. In fact, I'm probably going to go and watch my copy of Army of Darkness once I'm done filming this, just because they had the balls to fucking compare this to it. And, well, that is just a slap in the face to Army of Darkness. So no, guys, I cannot recommend this. In fact, I spent only about $3 on it. I think I spent about $2 too many. I would probably have given this thing a little bit more slack if it was only like a 99-cent purchase. But no, it was $3, and I kind of wish I could get some of that back. Well, I can, because I can just take this into a fucking resale shop. I'll get maybe about $1 back. So, yay. So anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.